All right, good morning or afternoon. Purpose of this recording is to give you a video kind of lesson on just enough that you need to know about iMovie to get your 15-second graphing story edited and ready to turn in, or at least ready for the next step of the project. You're going to need your recorded graphing stories. Remember that I told you they don't have to be exactly 15 seconds. One of the things that we're going to do in iMovie is trim them down. If you need to get those files onto this computer, you may need to log into OneDrive, you may need to log into iCloud, you may need to log into Google Drive or something of the like. Please be aware that this is a computer that is, unless it's your personal Mac, it's most likely a computer that other students are going to be using. So after you've gotten those files, please log out of those services so that others don't go in there and either delete those files or even see them. You just log out of any services that you happen to log into. But let's start, I suppose, by locating iMovie, the program we're going to be working with. It may appear in the little dock at the bottom of the screen. It's a purple star, got a little video camera logo in it. You can click that and it'll open. If it happens to not be there, you go to the Finder. It's the magnifying glass looking icon up here. And when you click that, you can search for iMovie. And provided you spell it right, it should show up in one of the top results, and you can double click that to open it. Otherwise, you could just click it in the dock at the bottom as well. When it opens, there may be some kind of pop-up to let you know about a new version or something like that. You can, of course, dismiss those. We're going to start our new video. Top between the center and the left, there's a little plus button that says New. You can go ahead and hit that and select the Movie option. Our project is going to be relatively simple, so we don't need any fancy themes or anything like that. We can select the No theme and give it a name. And I do highly recommend that you use your last name. Not that I'm actually going to see any of these project files, but I'll use Zelen Graphing Stories and then hit OK. And here is what the main screen that we're going to be looking at is going to look like. We have a few different things going on. We have like our project here, and then there's potentially no media for us to add to our project. There's a little preview over here, and down here at the bottom is the timeline view. That's going to show you everything that's in your movie. That's also where we're going to be doing a lot of editing, so that's going to be very important to us. Now, before we actually create the video, we need to get those files in, and you should be careful about where you download things, that you remember the folder that they're downloaded to. And let's go ahead through the process of downloading again. It's probably already in my downloads folder, but for the sake of this video, let's go ahead and do that. Go to the web, and one of the things you'll need for sure, in addition to your video file, is the count up timer, the 15 seconds. And well, I'll show you how to get there. So if you go to mrzelen.com and go to the Accelerated Algebra 1 page, clicking the link for the Graphing Stories project, which we've looked at, you can scroll down to part 3. These are the first edits that we're going to be making. Go ahead and let me warn you about something. If you just click on download file, it's going to play that file. It's going to be very boring for you to watch this count up timer. So back out of that, and if you want to download it, you can double click, or not double click, 2-finger click, and download the linked file as, and then you can save it. Make sure you're saving it to the downloads folder, or at least something that you know where you can find it. Okay, I'm going to go ahead and replace it because I've already downloaded it. You'll see at the top, I don't know if you caught that, it shows you that it just downloaded. It's a relatively small file, so those things will kind of pop up here, and you could of course use the Finder to get those things. Let's pretend you didn't. Let's say you now navigate away from the web and you're back here. What you can do, since I know that I saved them to downloads, is I can go to the Finder again and look for the downloads folder. It pops up here. We'll go ahead and double click to open it up, and what I have is two different files. One is that 60-second timer that we just downloaded. The other one is a video file one of the students used last year. So I'm going to drag, let's do one at a time. You could probably drag them in at the same time. So I'm going to drag that into this like media area. And you'll watch, let's go back to downloads. You can watch as we drag this second video in, you get the blue box. And you can let it go and it'll drop it right in. So what we're going to do now is we're going to add those files, which are now within your iMovie project, but not yet on the timeline. They're not actually forming a video yet. We're going to drag those in from the media area down to the timeline. You can kind of see there's a bunch of screenshots along the way of what this video is going to look like. What you can, and this one happens to be 15.4 seconds. What iMovie allows you to do really easily is trim it up. So you can kind of watch. You can actually hover your cursor over different parts of it. You can click to see what's going on at that moment, and you can actually play to see what this video is all about. If you want to take something out, if you said there was a very, very boring few seconds at the beginning or at the end, there's just me turning off the camera that you want to get rid of, you can drag the end of the video and just drag it over, and it actually clips off the edge of it. And let's say you made a mistake. I don't want it to be 10.9 seconds. I want it to be much more. You can drag it back over, and it'll put everything back that it just took away. So I want mine to be, let's make it exactly 15 seconds. And yours could be, give or take a fraction of a second or two, or even 1 or 2 seconds. 15 is the goal. So now we want to add the second, the count up timer to our video. What we can do is we can double click on it. It selects the whole thing, and we can drag that guy right in. And what you'll notice is by default, it's going to put that video at the end of it. Think about how you would normally make a series of videos. You want to play one, and then at the end of that, kind of fade into or otherwise transition to the second video. You don't want them playing at the same time. That's not what we want. We want them to be playing at the same time. We're going to have sort of like a picture-in-picture effect. So we're going to have to deal with that. But first, let's go ahead. See this slider here? We can actually slide it, and it shrinks everything down. So not only did my 15-second video get much smaller, but so did this one. I'm going to go ahead and use it now that it's smaller. Grab the edge of it and trim this thing down to, if I trim it down to 15 seconds, it should match our other video. And it should stop right around, 15 or so, 15 or 16. That looks pretty good. So make it a little bit larger now. Looks like it stops around 14, so maybe I'll go. Let's go to 16 and see how that gets us. Now, like I said, we want them playing at the same time, so I don't want them back to back. I'm going to drag this. I'm going to drag it above. Now, what's going on with these layers is really what they are. It's kind of like a stack of papers. If I look at this moment right here, about 5 seconds, 7 seconds, something like that, in the timeline, I can only see the countdown timer because it's on top. I can't see through it. I can't see through the video. So there's a couple things we want to do. The first is we want to crop this so that it's not a giant black screen and then small white numbers in the middle. We want to crop it so basically this video is just the numbers. So the first thing is we'll click this little crop symbol. You can actually hover over it and it'll tell you that it's the cropping menu. I'm going to select crop to fill. And we get these little corner draggy thingies. I'm going to drag those down and do our best to get just the numbers. I'll kind of center this and crop as best I can. Looks like it's not exactly center, so I will freehand a little bit. That looks good to me. When you're satisfied with the cropping that you've done, hit the blue check. And what that'll do, unfortunately, is it stretches everything out. So now we don't have a small number covering up our whole video, we have a large number covering up our video. So now what we'll do is get that picture-in-picture effect. This option right here, it's video overlay settings. If you click on that, you get some extra options. And the one that we want is from this drop-down menu. We want to select picture-in-picture. When we do that, let me get to a better part of the timeline. When we do that, we have this picture-in-picture kind of hovery thing that we can reposition. Now, hopefully, you didn't make the break the cardinal rule of recording. You should always record in horizontal mode, landscape mode, not vertical portrait mode. But the person who recorded this video did break that rule, so we can actually tuck this off to the side so it's not impeding the view of the video, but you might decide to shrink this number down and tuck it right in the corner if you want. It's kind of up to you. I'm going to move it off to the side though. Okay, we can resize it and we can reposition it as we will. And if we were to, let's leave that alone, if we were to go back to the beginning of the timeline, I think you could actually hit this to rewind and watch. Now we have a countdown timer playing over our video. And I'm just kind of nitpicking here. I have a little bit of overlap of the black box with the letters. So I'm going to go ahead and drag this now. Go back to video overlay settings. And I'll drag this a little bit over out of the way so it's not bringing me down. Okay. And again, let's rewind. Let's do a quick little preview. Yeah, that looks nice. Now we're off by a little bit, so what's going to happen is after the video is over, about 14 seconds, it's going to count up to 15 and then just kind of stop. So that's not bad. You don't have to be exactly 15. Now, once you're satisfied with all this stuff, once you're satisfied with everything you see, you might decide to add some effects, and if you're familiar with that, you have some transitions and some titles. If you want to mess with that, that's fine too. But once you're satisfied with the video as it is, you can go to File and Share as a file. Go ahead and hit Next. And I'll go ahead and put it in the Downloads folder. You can save this video. And it went away. Let's go back to, where did I say I was putting this in? Downloads. Go ahead and open that one. There we are. We have Zelen Graphing Stories.mp4, and now this is a video that I just made. We can double click to open, or we can email it. We can do whatever we got to do. Here's our video. That's nice. Now the downside to all this is that we don't have an easy way to get these project files, this edited screen. We can't come back and edit it easily unless you have the same machine. So try to keep a track of what computer you're using and see if you can grab that one the next time we're in. Otherwise, just make sure your video is right so you don't have to go back and edit it as much. Now, it wasn't a lot of steps to make all this happen, but you kind of don't want to have to do it a second time. Let's go ahead now and add this same video, but let's reduce the speed a little bit. So if this is all set exactly the way we want it, let's get that Let's see, let's go ahead and get that folder, or I'm sorry, let's get that file that we just created and add it back to our library, our media files, the one that has the timer built in. And let's add that now to the end of our timeline. Okay, once we have the second one, we can two-finger click on it and bring up this Show Speed Editor. With that added for us, is this little extra option, this little extra slider that lets us drag this thing out. So we can reposition it in such a way that it really slows us down. Now we can take it to twice as long. If it was twice as long, instead of being 15 seconds, it would be 30 seconds. So 15 seconds plus another 15 would be 30, plus another 30 would be 45. And I could just keep dragging this thing out until we get to 45. Let's see what double time or half speed looks like if I drag this to 45. That looks good right there. Let's see what this looks like if we were to just flat out play it. So I'll move the timeline towards the end of our video. Hit play. I think double time is about right. It's enough that I can see what's going on without those seconds ticking by too fast. Now that we've done that, and again, feel free to put some kind of transition in the middle of these two if you would like. Now that we've done that, we can export again. So if I say share as a file, and this time I might change this to Graphing Stories 2. And I'll save it again to download so I can access this thing easily. And let's go ahead and replace it. Now within my Downloads folder, now I've got my Graphing Stories 2. I think I hit everything, but if not, feel free. Just take this video and rewind, rewatch as much as you need to. And if you have any questions, of course, let me know.